Sundown, Levittown, Fort Apache, Dirty Harry, John Wayne, Blackface, Minuteman, Moynihan, Gone with the Wind, Breaking Bad. Washington Redskin, Confederate flag, the sword, the dollar, the cannon, the scholar, the cavalry, and the Ivy League. History is written by lightning, is the rising smoke of burning village. The ways of measures victors keep their victims. A frontier thesis of notes on the state of Virginia, extraction, expansion, the winning of the West. Lewis and Clark, Smith and Wesson. Now circle the wagon with bloodshed and slave sweat, the crack of the whip, the law 3/5, the crown republic of King Cotton, the intended failures of Reconstruction, the housing covenants that greeted great migrations and did the same to the Mexicans and poor Mexico. So far from heaven and so close to Monroe Doctrine, to Davy Crockett, to prison industrial complex. A war on drugs is a war on our young. Bloody Christmas, reefer madness, 15 to life for 4 ounces, East Oakland, West Baltimore, south of La Brea and Oliver North, Plymouth Rock, Jamestown, the Rio Grande, stolen lives, stolen land. See, some are born in summer homes and palatial groves where pain was only to unfold from the pages of secret gardens where the red fern grows, but not I. See, I come from the stock of starry-eyed astronauts who greet the night sky with big dreams and wide eyes, always running down the devil's highway through occupied America, on the way back to us on Mango Street and all the books you didn't want us to read. Raised on handball off the back wall of a panaderia born east the river, post Mendez versus Westminster, one generation with the red lines, and diplomas that were signed that those dreams in that skin need not apply. See, I come from struggle. And if my story offends you, it was only because you made the mistake of seeking your reflection in my self-portrait. See, this wasn't going to be about you. Because someone born of the Common Core, whose reflected faces grace the pages of doctrine discovered and age to be explored, where old world hardships crashed against new shores, New England, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, for others pushed off Turtle Island. Aslan, do not call this brown-skinned immigrant. Child of the sun, son of the conquest, Mexicano blood, run through the veins, the east side of Los Angeles. Do not tell him if native tongue and song will best be sung. Do not tell me who I am, because I was raised like you. Miseducated in some of those very same schools off lessons and legends of honest Indians and Christian pilgrims and a nation of immigrants all united in freedom that isn't until they pulled aside my white friend, pointed directly at me and said, Scott, I judge you by the company you keep and you spend your time with this. And that same old story, it's 1846. The adventure of Uncle Sam, the stick-up man, a wetback. Show me your papers, now give me your labor, the melting pot was never made for the hands that clean it. The American dream has always come at the expense of those who tucked it in. You don't know that because you don't teach it. Could write you a book, but you won't read it, so you know this is about you. In 1492, in the Treaty of Guadalupe, and California missions and Arizona schools, these racists that try to race us as we're kids in cities that bear our names, but you can learn some today, because from Ferdinand to Minuteman, from Arpaio to Alamo, from Pope of Wood to Joaquin to the Indian, that lives in me from 1868 to 1743, trying to bury us. They didn't know we were seeds, Canadian minds, they don't strike the Bandeola, Mizapata, Joaquin Murrieta, Las Adelitas, Brown Berezi, Zapatistas, from Richard Nixon, Third Napoleon, from Peckinpah to Houston, from Mozart Republic to Christopher Columbus, all the way down to Donald Trump. We didn't cross the borders crossed us. Who you calling immigrants? Pilgrim. This is Post. You know, it seems like yesterday municipalities raised cities, built nuclear families, associations of sturdy pockets, a 2-car garage, a chicken in every pot, a military expansion, a man on the moon, and a finger on the button. Tomorrow doesn't show up all at once, but when it does, liquidate the pension. Automate the factory. Auction off the options. Don't worry about me. I worry free, freelance, contingency, smiling at your service to gig economy, side hustle. Millennial, post-industrial standard. Hire me as an adjunct. Fire me as contingent to a city I cannot afford to live in. Tell me my credit score. Better yet, tell me yours. Promise me the world, then show me the door. I was not born angry. I was abandoned. I'm your velveteen rabbit. The drying paint of Saturn eating his children. Neoliberalism feasting on the marrow of the past and the present, the jobs of tomorrow, gone today, born sometime after the foreclosure. Tell me another for the fire. Tell me the one where I killed the economy. Los Angeles is falling apart. In the streets, in the suburbs, in the wind. In a barely kept Hollywood bathroom, wheezing, vomiting, coughing up blood. These past few days, these past few years, I've spread myself across this sprawl. And now fear this drive may kill me. May kill us all. And I wander. Over a general hospital between whose walls desperation wears in high concentration. Upon the faces of the shop-worn and prematurely ill alike. As they wait upon the news of illness they cannot afford to have, survival without insurance may take a while. Los Angeles is full of untold misery. A homeless man sleeps next to me, and I could smell the years of hard distance between who he is now and who he may have been. And all that stands between him and the bitter wind is chance. It's the kindness of a night nurse who will sleep in peace. Los Angeles is full of good people who from time to time can turn a blind eye to killer policy, and I wonder how bounce checks, free clinics, carry cash and leave the count in the negative stamp to me and him. Me and the bitter wind, and if so, where would I go? From Venice to San Francisco is a war on the homeless, a war on the dispossessed. They got fewer and fewer options. They got shelters for women and children, all inadequate. Me, just man up, homeboy. It's that concrete pillow, it's that cardboard blanket, and freeze yourself to death. It's a city will leave you to die on the same stretch of sidewalk where banks stretch into the sky. And I wonder, as even now Skid Row is being gentrified as a city, as a system, as the pigs which will pass poverty, pass hunger, pass homeless, the very edge of existence on Skid Row, with some millions annually policing the misery of people with nowhere to go because your pockets are empty and you ain't got nothing, and change is not coming. Well, there's no real difference between a booming metropolis and a barren desert where money passes by you, passes through you, as though you were just part of the scenery, protected in the knowledge they are serviced by pigs who speak the language of violence, the language of the nightstick, the language of untold misery that will beat you for begging, beat you for sleeping, beat you for breathing, beat you for doing whatever it is you need to do to survive the night in the bitter wind. Los Angeles. I said Los Angeles. It's full of pigs. This next poem is a persona poem, meaning it's not me. I've actually had people protest me as I was doing this. It is a poem about being incredibly wealthy, a billionaire. And I once had this guy who was like, we're gonna rise up against you. I was like, yeah, bro, I'm a billionaire, and I came to this open mic in Downey to brag in all 7 of your poor faces right now. That's what's happening here. But so it's a persona poem, so don't protest me. I'm pretending to be rich. I'm not rich. I thought about being a billionaire, but I became a poet instead. The rich, well, they're not like you and me. They see an opportunity, they grab it. Reach for the stars and they put them in their pocket. Company stays in the red, but they're backed by the government. Storms public dimes to lines of pure profit. Research and development. The rich, well, they different breed. Champagne wishes and caviar dreams. Thoroughbred stallions. $250,000,000 mansions on the sea, Deepwater Horizon, blood diamonds, golden parachutes, silicon messiahs, feasting on endangered species, serving silk platters, when palaces carved from the tips of icebergs, 6-figure charters, vulture capital, $1 million cufflinks, fucking life like an apple, insured by suicide nets, lifestyles of the criminally negligent, but you haven't lived. Until you've launched a car into space for no reason. And that's what I call freedom. The rich, well, here's how it is. Dollars and cents. Trademark and rent. Facts and figures, lines and a ledger, derivatives and debt, building future, increasing productivity, union busting back to the 100-hour work week, trimming the fat, producing monopolies with real money, shorts, and bets. Now, my friend, it's how the rich stay rich while the rest make poor decisions in its pure ecstasy, living in the lap of luxury, pushing pharmaceuticals to market. The market will bear your body to its altar at a life or death bargain, the gospel of wealth, because it is what it is, and that's all it's ever been. The less we spend, the more we keep. You see, the rich and the poor, well, they're just like you and me. 2 hands, 2 feet. The sky, the sea, one heart that beats, and everything between. The time to make the most of it so you find no sympathy. Reach into these deep pockets. All we ever asked is for our fair share, and God damn it, that's all of it. So around the streets, scream for peace and justice. We sleep in satin sheets, dream free and guiltless over oceans and tariffs, liquidating pensions and off to bid on porcelain and portraits at billion-dollar auctions. You know you need us. You know we're selling your secrets. You know some sensing nakeds, watching the puppets on television. Made freedom, free speech, fascism, democracy. We're reaching the earth and punching the the ozone and fuel the economy with space stations. Yes, space stations hydrating the red planet. We're going to survive this lava pit. So you got pots and pans, we got deeds and plans. Chopping down rainforest, colonizing the moon. We're the rich. Who the fuck are you? We'll privatize the water supply and then copyright the tears falling from your eyes. We're held down. What the hell are you talking about? The ice caps already melting. You want to start some shit? Eat the rich. We're already killing your kids. One carbon footprint, gas house emission, one oil rig, one naval ship, one free trade agreement at a time. We'll get away with it too. Nothing we say or do is ever held against us. Haven't you been paying attention? We're rich. That's a wake-up call. We gotta fight. So, like the bio said, I've toured around, done hundreds of campuses, get asked interesting questions. How do you get started? Who are your influences? Can you give us an example of a Latino experience? To which I typically respond, Chale. When I was 6, I lost a tooth and put it under the pillow. In the morning, ¿sabes qué? It was gone. Fuck you. That's my Latino experience. That said, here's a poem about growing up in East LA. I was born on the east side of Los Angeles, across the tracks from Bandon Steel, an industrial petrified forest. Across the steps, a giant green tarp protected customers and gossipers, our abuelitas, from rays of sun and the bombs of birds. They spoke Spanish, sold mangoes, papayas, and cherries, my favorite. Now, as a child, I could never quite make the connection between the broken, empty bottles across the steps and the broken, empty men poured out the rust factories from across the tracks. So my cousins and I would gather and throw rocks of dirt aimed directly for the head, and the men would yell back something like, "What do you damn kids know about life?" And we yell back, "Take that, drunks!" That was messed up, but that's how it was, growing up, where Valley climbs up and over meets Soto. El Sereno. In the 1950s, my mother's father, a technician by trade, by birth, a prince among men. In a backwards kingdom that held him back. That treated him different for the radiance of his unapologetic brown skin, raised a family of 6 on a single income. There is hard-fought genius in me, older than my mother's womb. December 18th, 1981, after months of fear and absence, my father makes his return. My aunt moves to a hospital bed. She does not want to see you. You know what you did. It would be best for everyone if you were just to leave. My mother holds a newborn, her only begotten son. There is a pain in me, older than my father's blood. As a child, I could never quite make the connection between his fingers around my throat and the anguish in his chest, a suffering older than my father's bones. His father's whiskey. Grandfather's short temper, long-lived legacy to time. History does not care to remember because beatings aren't fit for scrapbooks and genealogy of shame rarely make their way to the oral tradition of campfire. There is a burning in my heart that time cannot trace. Moved out from my father's, the suburbs treat me different. One day in the workforce, I told my boss last night I met a woman. Beautiful and intelligent. Asked, where at? Boyle Heights, where's that? The east side of Los Angeles. Asked, incredulous, you met an intelligent woman in East Los Angeles? Wanted to slap the cavalry from his smirk. Beat the manifest destiny out of his name badge, but needing a paycheck, I stood in the weakness of silence, the pain and anguish of generations long past alive, and sickened in my chest there is a shame tempted upon us, older than the tongues of bigots. Walked off job, marched off lot, fist up for the cause in a world that has told us no, that's told us different. I have chosen yes. Yes, I am Chicano. Yes, Mexicano. Yes, indigenous, that brown skin and bleed red. Yes, unafraid and unashamed, my passion, my potential, my intelligence. Yes, the fire in my chest. Look into my eyes, could feel its strength. And yes, as a matter of fact, some of the most radiant, gifted, talented, beautiful, intelligent women I have ever met reside on the east side of Los Angeles, just across the steps from the streets where I was born. Yes, I am all of this and more. I, like you, am made of stars. You, like me, so full of pain, are brimming with genius. Listen to no one who would make you feel different.